So I'm so glad to be here, so glad to see all of you. And as Swami Atmarupananda would say if he were here, San Diego is my old home. And still, even now, I spent more years here in this house in San Diego than I spent in any house in my life. Only 13 years, that's not many years for most people. Not for most people who are 75 years old, but it's not many years. But for me, it's the most I've ever spent in any one house. So this is still very much home to me. And driving down, the roads were so familiar, even with the changes of businesses and buildings along the way, but still very much coming home. And coming home to old friends, people that I know and love and have known for so long. Different ones of you in different ways, but very much my own. So today I want to speak on what Vedanta means to me now. And so Vedanta means the end of the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the philosophy that comes out of the Upanishads, and it means the end of knowledge. So that takes care of that. Is it time for lunch yet? Now, as time has gone on, of course, my understanding of Vedanta, or what it means to me, has grown, as it should. Anything that we apply our minds to begins to give up its secrets to us. And it's an amazing faculty of the mind. That really which Patanjali deals with in the third chapter of the Yoga Sutras, where he deals with the powers of the mind. And there he's talking about a very high state of concentration where you put the focused mind onto any subject and that subject reveals its secrets. But even for the ordinary mind, which is not yet attained to that high degree of concentration attained in samadhi, even the ordinary mind, our mind, when we apply it to any subject, if you take up gardening and you spend years working, gardening and learning about gardening, going to nurseries and studying plants and getting experience of how plants respond to different treatment and different circumstances, the world of plants, the world of gardening opens up to you in a deeper and deeper ways, whatever you spend your time thinking about. And so, of course, Vedanta having been my life for the last 55, now entering well into my 56th year, the meaning of Vedanta has changed for me, or has evolved, not changed, but evolved and deepened. So I want to talk about that some today. And of course, it still has its original meaning, and that is the dictionary definition of Vedanta, which, as I said, Vedanta, as most of you know, it means the end of the Vedas, the scriptures, and the end of the Vedas are the Upanishads, and so it means, the Vedanta literally means the Upanishads and the tradition which comes out of the Upanishads, the tradition which we teach here. And it also means, as most of you know, it means the end of knowledge, where Veda means knowledge. The end of knowledge in the sense, not the end in the sense of the cessation of knowledge, but the fulfillment of knowledge, coming to the highest knowledge, the highest end of knowledge that one can attain, that where one knows the infinite, one knows all. So it still has, of course, that meaning. But what I want to do today is talk a little bit about how those ideas have deepened with time in my understanding. And the best way to say it in short, and then the rest of the talk will be a development of that idea, but the best way to say it in short is Vedanta is this. Vedanta is everything. Vedanta is literally everything. There's nothing outside of Vedanta. And that in itself, as a bare statement without explanation, doesn't mean much, because To define anything, we have to say, well, an apple is this and it's not this. An apple is this kind of fruit and it's not a pear, it's not an orange, it's not a melon, and it's not a dog or a cat. We distinguish things to define them, one from another. So a definition has to say what something is and also distinguish it from other things that it might be similar to. And so just to say that Vedanta is this, well, what does that mean? Does it mean it's the world? Does it mean it's matter? Does it mean what? No, it's much more than that. It's literally everything, everything. So, what is this? So first of all, let me say that Vedanta is life itself. Life itself. It's that which explains life. It's that which gives meaning to life. It's that which shows that points to the dynamism behind life and the different ways that it does that. And I want to go into all of those because that itself would be a talk. So let me say that everyone and everything, every sentient being, from single cell life to us, human beings, everything is seeking to be. Everything seeks to be, to exist, and to continue existing. And when we think that my existence is this, is physical existence, I try to continue my physical existence. And even if I have risen higher than just identification with the body, we still try to continue our physical existence. It's a natural desire, innate within life. Even a bacterium, if you use a probe to touch a bacterium, the bacterium reacts and says, "What are you doing that for? Don't touch me. Leave me alone." Everything sentient responds in a way to protect its life. So we all want to exist, and we all seek to know. Everyone, even animals and plants, seek to know, to understand, to be aware. As Vedanta says, existence is combined with consciousness, with the desire to know. Even the person who drops out of school prematurely, they don't drop out of school because they don't want to know or understand. It's because they find school boring or they don't want to go through the process of academic learning. But everyone wants to know. That's why when anyone falls sick, everyone around them starts giving them advice on what they should do to get well. Oh, I take this herb, or I take that herb, or I take this pill or that pill. Everybody suddenly becomes a doctor because we all want to know. So we want to be, we want to know, and we want to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy, to be joyful. And so, as you know, you can already guess where I'm going with this because it's fundamental to Vedanta, that reality is existence, consciousness, bliss itself. And we all want to be, we all want to know, we want to be joyful because something within us has never forgotten that that's who we are. That's our nature. And so we're seeking it. We seek to continue our existence, however we understand our existence. If we only understand physical existence, then we want to continue that. And as I said, even if we understand that there is no death for me, still we continue our physical existence. That's natural and that's good. It's a natural instinct. I remember when I was a young monk, I'd gone to India for the training center. And I was early in my time in India. I'd gone for the second time in 1975 to stay and to study. And it was the first Swami that I had met who passed away at that time in 1975. He was a great Swami. He was assistant secretary of the order. And I got news that he had passed away in our hospital in Calcutta. And I asked somebody about his last moments, and somebody said, well, the last thing anyone heard him say was, "I need oxygen." And I was so disappointed. I thought, oh, he's going to say, "Oh, Ramakrishna, you have come. Holy Mother, there you are. Oh, I see infinite light. I'm melting into the light," and so forth. And his last words were, "Give me oxygen." But now I understand, yes, that anyone, even a saint, would say that. When you feel that you can't breathe, you ask for oxygen, of course, because there's an innate desire to continue. in physical life, even if we have transcended physical life. So a great saint, the difference is that if they don't get oxygen, they still die in joy and in full awareness. But that desire to continue existence as we know it. So life itself is a search for the goal of Vedanta, because something within us has not forgotten that that's who we are. We still know that. And so we seek, there's something within us that says, I should be happy. I should be happy. I should know. I should be aware. I should exist. I do exist, and I should exist. One of the questions that little kids sometimes ask their parents is, where was I before I was born? And the mother may say, well, you were in mommy's tummy. Yeah, but before that, where was I before I was born? And of course, there's not a good answer you can give a kid to that, unless you want to teach them about reincarnation or whatever. But little children can't understand the idea that I didn't exist. I must have existed, because they've only been alive for 4 years, and yet there's the sense that I've always been around somewhere. I couldn't have just appeared. So again, there's that unconscious recognition of what we are. But that's not the only thing. When I say that Vedanta is this, Vedanta is everything. Vedanta is existence itself. It is existence itself. That is, Vedanta says that, and I'm not going to keep saying Vedanta is and Vedanta says, because that gets boring. You can just assume that what I'm talking about is what Vedanta says. So let me just state that and go forward. So existence, that which is existence itself. It's a very good meditation to sit and just feel that there is this ocean of unity. We have this capacity within us. None of us have, well, let me put it another way. All of us have this awareness of unity, but we never pay attention to it. Like the person who wears glasses forgets that they're wearing glasses and begins to look for their glasses. I myself have done that. I've looked all over my room, in the bathroom, everywhere, looking for my glasses. And then suddenly I scratch my head and, oh, they're right there. So like the person wearing glasses who forgets their glasses, even though we're seeing, we see our glasses first before we see anything else. We forget them. And so we all see unity before we see anything else. We see everything. Everything that we're seeing here is seen on a background of unity. And so it is possible to sit quietly, for all of us, to just sit quietly and feel an ocean of unity. To just feel that there is an ocean of unity. We can do it in different ways. One way is just to feel that everything that is, it exists. What does it mean that something is? The microphone is here. It means that it's present. And so just an ocean of presence, that is an ocean of existence surrounding me. I see a cosmos around me, a cosmos that seems to make some sense. There seems to be an inner harmony to it. Why? Because I see it against the background of unity. Everything that I perceive, I see within an ocean of unity. It's a strange thing when we begin to pay attention to it, and everyone can feel it because it's there right now. It's not something you have to imagine. In the beginning, if I tell you, okay, close your eyes and try to feel the ocean of unity surrounding you, then you try to imagine something. But in time, it's just relaxing and feeling that which is really there. This ocean of unity, and everything within it is just like a wave in this ocean of unity. It's in your perception right now. And so that is existence itself. And existence is reality. The word in Sanskrit for existence is sat, which comes from us, which means to be. So existence is that which is. And everything is. What is not, and what is. And that ocean of isness, that ocean of existence, is the goal of Vedanta, to try to see the ocean of unity in which everything appears. And it's already there in our perception. We see it without knowing what we're seeing. It's right there. And so Vedanta is the existence itself, or existence is that which Vedanta seeks and that which Vedanta teaches. It's existence itself. So Sat is the word for existence, as I said, and Satyam is the word for truth. The word for truth, Satyam. So Satyam is that which has the quality of being, that which is. So if we say that, I should only speak the truth, that means I should only say that which actually happened and not make things up, make up a lie, be manipulative in my words. I should say, be clear and speak of that which is. That's being truthful verbally. But truth, of course, is beyond just verbal truth. It's that which is. And so that also is what Vedanta is. It's an expression of truth. There may be other ways of expressing it, but it is an expression of truth. That is what it seeks. Sister Nivedita said of Swami Vivekananda that being around the Swami Vivekananda, one felt that what was the only thing that mattered to him was truth. And he was a follower of Vedanta because in Vedanta he found truth. But had he found truth going elsewhere, he would, without a thought, have left Vedanta and followed truth. And that's what we should do. Truth is what matters. Truth is what matters. Not labels, not names like Vedanta, but truth is what is. The great Meister Eckhart, the great German mystic, Christian mystic of the 13th and 14th centuries, he spanned the two. He said that truth is a thing so noble that if God himself were to depart from truth, I would leave God and follow truth. Truth is a thing so noble that if God himself were to depart from truth, I would leave God. He was a Christian priest, a Dominican, but he said, I would leave God and follow truth. Yes, that's what we want, that kind of dedication to truth. That's what I want, is truth, because that's what is. If I'm holding on to something which is not, which is an illusion, which is a shadow, in the end, I'm going to be disappointed. I want that which is. I want truth. And so truth should be our religion. And that's why there's not a conflict between science and truth, nor a conflict between philosophy and, there's not a conflict between science and Vedanta, nor a conflict between philosophy and Vedanta, because what we want is truth. It may be that in some areas we may disagree with certain viewpoints in science, but if science proves something as true, then we should accept that. There are things which are theories, things which are theoretical, and there we may differ, and as long as it's a theory, but that which is truth is what we want. And so that is the religion of Vedanta, to follow truth, to seek the truth, to live the truth, to be the truth. So Vedanta is truth as well. Vedanta also is, along with existence, it is the absolute and it is manifestation as well. And that's what I mean by all of this. Brahman, the absolute, Brahman may not be a truth to us right now because we haven't realized it. But those who have gone deep into the reality of things, with the mind sharpened by meditation and years of practice, perceive Brahman everywhere, see the reality pervading everything. Everything is a manifestation of that reality. And so Brahman is the infinite spirit. Spirit meaning what? Spirit meaning that it's transcendent. It's beyond time, beyond space, beyond concept, beyond thought. And that is experience that can be experienced. And that is the highest truth, because it is beyond all concept, beyond all imagination, beyond all shadows, beyond all everything that passes away, which appears and passes away. But manifestation also is that same reality. Out of Brahman comes the whole universe. Purnamada Purnamidam. That infinite reality of Brahman is full. This universe is full. And this fullness, the fullness of this universe has come out of that fullness of Brahman. And so this universe is the dance of Brahman, more often called the dance of Shiva, the dance of Kali. It could be the dance of Jesus. It doesn't matter. The dance of the divine. The whole universe is that. As some of you know, in front of CERN in Switzerland, the huge laboratory in Switzerland, there's a large image of Nataraja Shiva, the dancing Shiva, in recognition of the fact that the vision of the universe, according to modern physics, is a universe of constant dynamism. And so they chose to put the image of the dancing Shiva in front of CERN laboratory in recognition of that. And I think that actually was probably inspired by that book from the 70s, The Tao of Physics, of Fritjof Capra. He was one of the early ones who showed a connection between modern theoretical physics and Eastern wisdom, and particularly that dance of Shiva. Yes, all of this is the dance of Shiva. Shiva, that is reality, truth. Shiva is a Hindu deity, yes, but a Hindu deity who stands for the truth, who is the truth, a personalized form of the truth. So Shiva in meditation is the absolute in itself, where all manifestation has ceased, and there's just reality itself, infinite reality. And when Shiva begins to dance, then that is the universe, the dance of this ever dynamic universe. And so in that sense also Vedanta is this, it's everything, the absolute and the manifestation. That's what it concerns itself with. Let me know what this is. That's what science seeks. What is this? What is this? It's a search for truth. Science is a search for truth. Science at its best is a search for truth. And Vedanta is a search for truth. Therefore Swami Vivekananda always said that time will come when Vedanta and science, or he said, we don't even need, again, to use the label Vedanta, but religion and science will meet, because both are searches for truth through different methods and through different, in different directions. Modern science began by looking at this, the external world. What is this made out of? And it was a very realistic approach to the universe. The universe is what we see, but I, the scientist, want to know what it's made out of. But I want to understand, what is this? So I start taking it apart, analyzing it, and so forth. And starting in the 19th century, especially the latter part of the 19th century, and then continuing to the present day with ever more momentum, science has revealed a universe far from the practical universe of everyday life. One of the problems for science is to explain how the universe of modern theoretical physics could be this that we see, the practical universe, when what they've discovered at the most basic level they've come to an analysis of this universe is so different from our everyday world. And so science is going deeper and deeper into the nature of external reality, to the point where even in the 50s and 60s, 1950s and 1960s, and it was around 1963, I read a book, or probably 64, I read a book called The Universe and Dr. Einstein by Lincoln Barnett. There was an early popularization of Einstein's ideas. And there, I remember something that I read, which has stayed with me ever since. And that is, he said that modern physics, modern theoretical physics, has shown that the universe, has found that the universe is more idea than physical fact. The universe is more idea than physical fact. And I was only 13 or 14 years old. I didn't exactly understand what it meant, but I knew that's important. I knew that's important. And so that always stayed with me. And whenever that idea recurred, I realized that no, to me, that's meant for me. Or not that he wrote it for Swami Atmarupananda, but that it was in a sense meant for me, in the sense that it was meaningful to me. So, as I said, Vedanta is a search for truth, and that truth is the absolute as well as manifestation. So, again, it's all of this. It's also consciousness. I forget his name, but a modern physicist, presently living and active physicist, has said that the great search for science now is consciousness. What is consciousness? He said, we've studied everything, but we haven't studied consciousness itself. And there I must say that is where Vedanta has a great deal to contribute, because in the West, consciousness has always meant conscious processes. My conscious thoughts, that's consciousness. Consciousness means conscious thinking. There are unconscious processes which cause my desires and impulses and things like that, which direct my actions without my knowing that my actions are being directed by something unconscious. But then there is the conscious mind. And so in the West, consciousness has always meant that. The conscious mind, conscious thinking, that is consciousness. But no, that's not consciousness. That's not consciousness at all. That is the part of the mind illuminated by consciousness. This may sound like a dogmatic statement, but it's not meant dogmatically, because we can all experience this. We don't have to wait until nirvikalpa samadhi to experience this. We can all, by analysis, understand that consciousness is the light of experience itself, that which illuminates all experience. I'm aware of the world around me, and I'm the subject. I see the world. The world is the object. I experience my own body through the eyes and through the tactile sense. The body is there. It's an object of my awareness. So I can't essentially be the body. I may be identified with the body, but it's not me, because I experience it as an object. I experience my mind. And as I go deeper in spiritual life, more and more of my mind is revealed, including parts that used to be the unconscious mind become open to consciousness. And so I perceive the mind. I perceive the thinking of the mind. So I'm not the mind, it's an object of what I see. So through that analysis, if we meditate on that, if we think about it again and again, if we try to feel that I can see the mind, I can see the body, I can see the world, I am that which sees, not that which is seen, then I begin to get a feeling for consciousness itself, and I realize that consciousness is that which perceives, that which sees, not that which is seen. Of course, then you may say, and people do say, that, well, then there's a duality between the seer and the seen. But that's only temporary. If we stop with that duality, I'm the seer, I'm consciousness, and everything else is the seen, but different from me, then we end in Sankhya philosophy. But Vedanta goes further and says that in time we see that everything that we see, all of the objects we see, are only ripples in the ocean of consciousness. And that the sense of distinction between me, the seer, and the objects seen is just an illusion. That's what Bhrigu in the end of the Taittiriya Upanishad, the Bhrigu Valli, the chapter on the illumination of Bhrigu, what he says. When in the Upanishad he says, Sayaschayam purushe sayaschasavaditye sa ekaha saya evam vit. The being within me, that is the consciousness within me, and the consciousness there within the sun as a symbol of the infinite consciousness. That which is within me and that which is in the sun are the same. One who knows this, and then he goes on and says, it transcends the physical body, the body of prana, the body of the mind, the body of intelligence, the body of bliss, and attains to illumination. And then he says, ha, ooh, ha, ooh, ha, ooh. One begins to sing this song of illumination, he says, Brigu says, as it travels through all of the worlds, liberated from all bondage, and sings this song of bliss. Ahamannam, ahamannam, ahamannam. I am the object, I am the object, I am the object, all of this, I am all of this. Ahamannado, ahamannado, ahamannadaha. I am the perceiver of the object. So I am all of this, and I am the one who perceives as well. I am both. Ahagga shlok, akrita hagga shlok, akrita hagga shlok, akrita. And I am that which supports both. I am the object, I am the subject, and I am that which sustains both. Ahamasmi prathamajaritasya. I am the firstborn, the existence itself. Like Meister Eckhart said in one of his beautiful sermons, again, this great German Christian mystic of the 13th and 14th century, who says, before God and before the Trinity, I am. I am before the world was born, Meister Eckhart says. A perfectly Vedantic statement, and like the illumination of Brigu. And so he goes on like that, and at the end he says, Aham Vishwam Bhuvanam Abhyabhavam Suvarna Jyoti Ya Evam Veda Ityupanishat. I have overcome the whole world. I'm of the golden color of the sun. This is the Upanishad, he ends by saying. That is, this is the secret knowledge of the Upanishad. So consciousness is, according to Vedanta, consciousness is reality. And according to Vedanta means according to the experience of countless sages over thousands of years, down to our present day. That the nature of reality, the nature of existence is consciousness. This which seems so real and solid and external is just a form of consciousness. Sri Ramakrishna saw that. Sri Ramakrishna saw everything is made of pure consciousness. He said he saw everything like pillowcases floating on the ocean. That is, the ocean of consciousness, and everything were just these light little coverings, these light little flimsy little envelopes over the nature of consciousness. Everything, everyone is made of pure consciousness, just manifestations of consciousness. And so everything is existence itself. But everything is consciousness as well, because consciousness is existence. And as one begins to get a feeling of what consciousness is, one begins to get a feeling for consciousness itself. One begins to feel that the whole universe rests within my consciousness. The whole universe is inside of me, not me inside of the universe. That's not egotism. It would be if I said the whole universe is only inside of Swami Atmarupananda. But the universe is inside each one of us. I am in you and you are in me, and the whole universe I perceive within me, and you perceive the whole universe within you. That can be shown scientifically. I can show it scientifically. Not through laboratory equipment, but just through analysis of this of modern science. That and I've I've said this before here in San Diego many years ago. But light coming in through my eyes forms an image on the retina, and that image is upside down. And the image is formed on the retina, but then a signal, electromagnetic and chemical signal, is sent along the optic nerve to the visual center in the brain. The image is not sent. It's not that a picture travels up the optic nerve. No, a coded message is sent. And then it comes to the optic center in the brain, and there that message is decoded and the image is produced. What I'm seeing is what my brain has produced, the reading of that message coming along the optic nerve. I'm not seeing the external world. I'm seeing an image which is produced by my mind. There's no color in nature. There are different wavelengths of light, but my mind interprets wavelengths of light and provides color. all of this varied color that I see, that's within me, not in the external world. And if everything, and that's the same is true of all of the five senses. I'm not feeling the table now. That's a message which goes up the nerve, and then the tactile center translates that message and tells me that I'm feeling something solid and a little bit cool and smooth. So all of my sense information comes from the senses, but it's a reading by the mind of these messages. And if that's true, then even the existence of the nerves and the nerve endings, the retina in the eye and all of that, that itself is produced by the mind. So the whole world exists within my mind. It's the mind projects outward this vision of a world, but it's within my own mind, and the same for each one of us. So consciousness is that reality which sustains everything. Everything that I see is just a manifestation of consciousness. The old Indian idea was that the mind goes out through the eyes and takes the form of the external objects. But no, we don't have any evidence that the mind goes out through the eyes. But why did they think that? They thought that because the world that we see is a mental universe, as Lincoln Barnett said in that book, The Universe and Dr. Einstein, that I referred to. The universe is an idea. It's just a mental image. And so that's why they thought that the world must go out through the eyes and take the form of the world. No. The world is a form which is born within the mind itself. The mind doesn't have to go out through the eyes. So Vedanta is consciousness as well. Vedanta also is spirituality. And therefore, there are two aspects to Vedanta as far as religion goes. One is Vedanta is a particular path. Someone like me has decided that Vedanta is the path I want to follow, so I become a Vedantin. So somebody, if they ask me, what is your religion? I say either a Vedantin or a Hindu, because Vedanta is the philosophical underpinnings of Hinduism. So either one. Most people don't understand what Vedanta is, so I may say Hindu, but it comes to the same for me. But there's another aspect of Vedanta, and that is that it explains the science of spirituality, because what it's interested in are the principles of truth. What is a principle? A principle is that which is true outside of culture and not dependent on a language, not dependent on a culture and so forth. As I like to explain, the gravitation. That was discovered, the principle of gravitation was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. He didn't invent gravity, he discovered gravity. And discovered gravity means he discovered the mathematical relationship between objects that have mass. But that doesn't make gravitation English. You don't have to pay royalties to Newton's descendants to use gravity, and nor does gravity only work in England. Gravity works on the moon, it works in distant galaxies, it works everywhere because it's a principle. It's not dependent on culture, it's not dependent on a particular person who discovered it. And so that's what Vedanta is interested in, the principles of existence itself. And again, that's why there's no conflict between Vedanta and science. That can be found in other religions also. It's just that in Vedanta that the distinction is clear, that what we want are the principles. For instance, Saint Teresa of Avila, a great Spanish saint of the 16th century. If you read her stages of prayer, as she analyzed the stages of prayer that she went through in her own spiritual experience, you can understand them because they're based on principle. They're not based on culture, they're not based on theology. She may use some theological terms to explain them, but what she's talking about are actual stages of experience. And because the Spanish Christian mind is the same as the Indian Hindu mind or the Saudi Arabian Muslim mind or whatever, it's the same mind. It's based on principles, and so you can understand it. It applies to me as it applied to her. And so that's what Vedanta is interested in, whether it's in, and you can find these principles expressed in Christianity, Islam, in other religions as well. But in Vedanta, Swami Vivekananda found that Vedanta was a religion primarily of principles. That was what interested the ancient sages of the Upanishads. Not culture, not other things, but principles themselves. What is true? What is universal? And so that again is why Vedanta is this, because it explains religion, it explains spirituality, and it shows how spirituality is life itself. That is the motivating power behind life itself. As I said, everyone wants to be, everyone wants to know, everyone wants to be happy. The search for spirituality is a universal search. And so, for us, and I don't mean it in any narrow parochial way, everyone is already a Vedantist. Everyone, even the animals and the plants, the bacteria, are Vedantists. Everyone and everything is already a Vedantist, because everyone is seeking that according to the principles of life itself and the principles of existence. Everything is already seeking that, the end which we are seeking consciously. And so again, I don't mean that in a parochial sense. I don't mean that everyone is a Vedantist and not a Christian or not a Muslim or not a Buddhist. No, not in that sense. Everyone, wherever they are, the atheist, the agnostic, the person who hates religion, they're all Vedantins. And we can accept them as Vedantins. We don't have to put up walls. We don't have to say that, well, if you come through the door here, you have to accept Sri Ramakrishna, or you have to accept Vedanta, or you have to say, I am a Vedantist and I'm not these other things. No. Everyone is welcome, because everyone already belongs. Everyone already belongs, because all of this is Vedanta. This is Vedanta. It's not a tradition which should, anybody can, who calls himself a Vedantist, but it's not a tradition which should set up walls and say, on this side of the wall is Vedanta, and on that side is other things which are not Vedanta. No. As Swami Vivekananda said, in my country, Vivekananda's words, in my country, India, in my country, people will go down on their knees before the man who studies the Vedas, but they don't care a fig for the man who studies physics. Of course, that's changed a lot now. India has a huge number of physics scientists. But at that time, he said, in my country, people will go down on their knees before the man who studies the Vedas, but they don't care a fig for one who studies physics. And then he says, but that is not Vedanta. In Vedanta, all studies, all knowledge is sacred. All knowledge is sacred. In fact, even Shankaracharya, the great philosopher of Vedanta, who sometimes is criticized for being very orthodox, but he was a great saint and a great philosopher. And he said in Upadesha Sahasri, he says that every act of knowledge is non-dual. That is, every act of knowledge is an act of a non-dual knowledge, a participation in the nature of reality itself. So Vedanta is spirituality, it is life, it is also everyday life. It is everyday life. Because it is, as Swami Vivekananda said, more and more I see, more and more to me, I see the greatness of the worm, who day after day performs his humble tasks within the earth, and in that he saw the greatness. He said, which one of you here before me, to his audience in California, which one of you is not a Christ, carrying their small cross through the world? Yes, each one of us has to carry our burden through life. And so he began to see the heroism of ordinary life, the heroism of daily life, with all of the problems that we face. How many times each one of us here has thought, I can't face this. This is too much for me. Yet we're still here. We're still here. Uli, whom I've known for so many years, she's crossed 90 now. She's still here. How many difficulties every one of us has crossed. And the older we are, the more difficulties we've crossed. And yet we're still here. As Vivekananda said, we don't melt like butter. No, there is a power and a strength within which allows us to face the difficulties of life. And so everyday life is also Vedanta. That's where it's here and now in everyday life, the struggles of everyday life, that we confront reality. It's here that we find God. It's here that we realize the truth, not by going to a mountain cave, not by isolating ourselves from life and from people. If you want to do that, yes, there's the option, you can do that. Most of us can't. Even most of us monks can't do that. We belong to an organization where we have duties and centers to run. It's in everyday life. Even if you run to a cave, there's a big problem you'll find there in the cave, that you brought yourself. You're still there. You're still there. And so we have to face ourselves here, wherever we are. Learn to face ourselves here. And that's the heroism of daily life. Karma yoga. Karma yoga is the great yoga of everyday life, where every action, washing dishes, sweeping the floor, taking care of our daily duties, however humble they are, that is where we confront reality. That is where we are in the here and now, where there's the possibility of realization. Realization is not in the future, not in some far off place. It's right here, right now, because that's all that we have. That's all that we ever have. And so Vedanta is everyday life as well. And therefore Vedanta is action, Vedanta is knowledge. And I'm coming to a conclusion now. There's the beautiful question at the beginning of the Mundaka Upanishad. Kasminnu bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavatiti. What is that? By knowing which everything here becomes known. A very strange question. What is that? By knowing which everything becomes known. And that, the answer is the rest of the Upanishad, and that is Brahman. That is the nature of reality. If I know that, it doesn't mean that suddenly I can speak Swahili and Chinese and Japanese, but it does know that I know the essence of everything. Anything new that I see, I know, oh, that's a manifestation of Brahman. That is shining with the light of the infinite. That there, the light of the infinite is shining within that. Everything is just a form of that reality. And so, yes, there is one thing by knowing which we know everything, and that is by knowing the non-dual spirit. So it's action, it's knowledge, it's everyday life, it's consciousness, it's existence, it's the manifestation, and it's the absolute which manifests as well. And I'll end with saying one more thing. It is meaning. Everyone is seeking meaning. People come to people like me and say, Swami, what is the meaning of my life? Or what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with my life? Everyone must have some purpose here in life, but I haven't found my purpose. Why I'm here, why I was born, I don't know. As one of our Swamis used to say, the purpose of your life is trying to catch up with you. Slow down a little bit and let it catch up. That is, the purpose of our life is found in just living, see what's in front of you, see what the next step is, take that. That's the purpose of your life. And as you follow that, as you take step by step, when you look back, you'll see that my life was not random at all. There was a pattern. One thing that seemed so random in my life, I suddenly happened upon a book, or I happened upon a person, or I happened upon a place, and my whole life was changed. But when I look backwards, I see, no, that wasn't a chance encounter. That was meant to be. There was a path that I was following. When we look forward, we just see options and choices and decisions and no guide on what we're supposed to do. But just turn around and look backwards and you'll find that you were always guided. You were always on a path. So all we have to do to find the meaning of our life is just to live it. Just live it. The problem is most of us are thinking, oh, the meaning of my life must be to become a great and famous, world famous person in some field. No, most of us have simple, humble lives. That's fine. That's fine. because the realization of the truth doesn't depend on being famous or wealthy or anything like that. That's open to all of us. So just step by step. So as I said, in conclusion, let me say that Vedanta is meaning as well. It's a strange thing that if you once in a while you practice just sitting still, being quiet, trying to calm the mind as much as you can, and just trying to experience everything as just vibration. You hear sounds, but you don't try to interpret them. You hear voices, but you don't try to listen to what they're saying. Just hear everything as vibration. Feel sensations as vibration, not that's the chair touching my leg or that's my foot on the floor, but no, everything is just vibration. Sounds are vibration, touch is vibration, thoughts are just vibrations in the mind. Reduce everything to vibration, and you see that all of it in itself is meaningless. It's all meaningless in itself. And at first that can be depressing, that you mean the world is meaningless, life is meaningless, everything is meaningless. In a sense, yes, everything is absolutely meaningless. It's just vibrations, that's all it is. But the positive side is that you are the meaning. You are the meaning. When you withdraw the sense of meaning from all of your experiences, you see it's just vibrations. But then I begin to participate. In my mind, it's the mind that sees meaning. You can see this tendency of the mind in things like there are certain, I referred to this in Hollywood the other day, in giving a talk there, that the songs, there are two songs that I've always loved. One is Don McLean's, what was it? Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. The day the music died. It's a nonsense song, and yet the mind it finds all kinds of meaning in it. But he himself said, no, it was just nonsense, just random ideas put together. The same with Procol Harum's A Wider Shade of Pale. That also is meaningless, but the mind finds all kinds of meaning. That's because you are providing meaning. You're finding random ideas that were put together, and you try to put meaning into it. The meaning is here. Meaning is here. Reality is here. Truth is here. We have grown up thinking that value is out there, reality is out there, truth is out there, everything good is out there. No, everything is right here. All meaning is right here. You provide meaning. And so learn to find that meaning in here. Don't depend on something outside of you to give meaning. That doesn't mean that you can't have hobbies and do things and participate in life. No, you have to. You have to. And hobbies can be very good, healthy for the mind. But don't think that that's what gives you meaning. Meaning comes from right here. Value comes here. You're not a good person because people tell you you're a good person. And you're not a bad person because people tell you you're a bad person. Value, truth, reality, meaning, everything is right here. And if we begin to internalize that feeling, then we begin to feel for the first time that yes, the center of the universe is right here, not in the ego, because the center of the universe right here is the heart of everyone. Swami Vivekananda says, all beings are in the same place. It's just the mind that spreads them out, and we think that, oh, I'm here and you're there. No, the heart of every being is right here, right here. My heart is the heart of every being. Your heart is the heart of every being. All meaning, all truth, all value is right here. And that sense that I am is the center of all of it. I am the sense I am. That's who I am, and that is the Atman. And that is God, who says to Moses in the Jewish Bible, I am that I am. I am the I am. And that is who I am. I am the I am, which is the I am of God. So with that, I'll stop. Let me see if there's one question or two questions. I've used up all of the time. Yes, Shirnaz.
Swamiji, when will we have you back?
Oh, when will I be back? That's an easy question. I have no idea. But probably I will be back. I didn't know I would be coming here until several months ago when Swami Atmarupananda invited me to speak in Olima. And he's invited me to come back in April next year. And so if that works out, I'll try to make time for Southern California too, because this is home, as I said.
Remember us.
Yes, I will certainly try. Yes, Uli.
This has been the talk of the year for me. Okay, this has been the talk of the year for me because getting older or old, I've thought so much about these kind of things. We never ever mention once the word Maya.
Aha.
We're always taught, you know, this world here, what we're dealing with, that's all an illusion. What do we say to this?
Ah, yes, yeah, no, that's a very good point. Because Swami Vivekananda, though he gave 2 or 3 lectures on Maya, he was not a teacher of Maya. He taught Brahman. He taught that God is everything, that God is. Maya to Vivekananda meant only the confusion of our confused understanding. And so yes, the devotional philosophers were largely correct in India when they said that the Advaitins were Mayavadis. They were always talking about Maya. But actually the importance of Advaita is not Maya, it's that Brahman is. It's what truth is. So it's more important to emphasize what truth is rather than to talk endlessly about our mistakes. That doesn't do good. But right here is Brahman, right here in everything. As Swami Vivekananda said, and it directly related to what your question, he said, always remember that we travel from truth to truth, not from error to truth. And that's the opposite of the usual understanding of Maya. That is, all of us are seeing the same thing, but we interpret it differently. And so every vision of this is true as far as it goes. But as I go deeper, as I grow, and as I grow in wisdom, I see more and more, and I see it clearer and clearer. And so it's not that I was wrong before, it's that now I see more deeply, I see more clearly. And so it's truth to truth, not error to truth. And that's very important. Yes, yes. Thank you, Uli. Yes, Ivan.
I think we all might be a bit curious as to what you've been up to in France and how you're liking it. So
Okay, sure. That's an easy question too. I like it very much. Of course, when I say I love France and I love the work there, people immediately say, oh, you don't like America? Oh, no, it's not that. You can love 2 things at the same time. So I love the work there. I love the people. I love the culture. I love the language, which I'm learning. The first 2 years I had to use an interpreter. I would speak in English and someone would translate for me, which was easy. It meant for an hour's talk, I only had to talk for half an hour. And I had a long time to think between sentences. I could say a sentence and then think, what am I going to say next? But for the last year, I give all talks in French. And not elegant French, not the best French, not always correct, but understandable. And the French have a undeserved reputation of being very impolite and very rude and everything. The French I found to be very, very polite. And yes, you can make them rude by not following their code of politeness, which sometimes we don't understand. But if we once understand what the code of politeness is, then the people are very, very kind, very helpful. And so I love the country, I love the work. And the center, the Centre Vedantique Ramakrishna, it was found, the first Swami came in 1937. Actually, Vivekananda came 3 times to France, and he learned French. We have 4 letters written in his hand in French, long letters that he wrote in French. The 3rd time he came in 1900, he spent several months in Paris living with a Frenchman, just not giving lectures or anything, just learning French. So he had great love for France and for the French language and French culture. Even before he came to America the first time, before he came in 1893 for the Parliament of Religions, he carried with him, traveling around India, a French grammar. And at that time, he wrote a letter in French to his brother disciples in Baranagar. They received the letter. They knew it was signed Vivekananda, but they couldn't read anything else in the letter. So they went to Calcutta and asked some professors, what language is this? And someone recognized it and said, oh, this is French. So Swamiji loved France, but our present work started with Swami Siddheshwarananda, a great Swami. who went from India in 1937. He went to France because Romain Rolland, as we might say, he had written a biography of Sri Ramakrishna and a biography of Swami Vivekananda. And he was the most famous writer of his generation in France, and he's still very well known. A very great writer who won the Nobel Prize for literature. So the fact that he wrote biographies of Ramakrishna and Vivekananda in French and immediately translated and published in English as well, and still published, that made a big stir in France among the intelligentsia and the literati. And so there was a great interest suddenly in Ramakrishna Vivekananda. So they asked Bellarmine to send a Swami. And so Swami Siddheshwarananda was appointed. He was sent. A big reception and lecture was organized in Paris. And at the end of the lecture, he said that, well, I have come here to start the Vedanta work here in France, but I need your help. I just came here alone. I have nothing. I'm here and I need help. So those who are interested in the work, please speak to me and we'll go forward. And after the lecture, everybody disappeared as quickly as they could. He was a great lecturer, so it wasn't because his lecture was bad, but it was because nobody wanted responsibility. But one couple, Monsieur Marcel Sauton and Madame Sauton, they stayed after the lecture, came up to the Swami as everybody else was flying out the doors, and said, Swami, we'll look after you. And so they invited him into their apartment in Paris, and they looked after him. When the Nazis invaded France, they took the Swami to the south of France, the free part of France, and he stayed there through the war. And after the war, they came back to Paris. And by 1948, he was able to purchase, it wasn't given, it was purchased, the land in Gretz, where we are now. A large piece of property. We have 45 acres, but it used to be more when he was there. When he died, some of it was lost for various reasons. Some of it was taken. But there's still a big piece. To be very close to Paris and to have 45 acres, that's very unusual. And so we're blessed with a big, beautiful piece of property, big buildings. So let me just say again before I leave Swami Siddheshwarananda that he was great spiritually, a great spiritual powerhouse, and he was great intellectually also. So he was invited all over France to the universities often to speak. And the people who would come to him were the thought leaders in France of the time, philosophers, scientists, professors, religious leaders, and so forth. He wrote books on the Carmelite spirituality and as well as on Vedanta. He was a great man. He had the idea of forming a university, what he called, and it's a gendered term, which isn't appropriate now in America, but it was called the University of Man, Université de l'Homme. And so he had this idea of patterning a university on the ideas of Swami Vivekananda, that is the education of the whole person, the intellect, the emotions, the character, the spiritual person, the aesthetic person, to education of the whole person. So he started that by through lectures and so forth, but he died in 1958. And the next Swami whom I knew well, Swami Ritajananda, he was a great spiritual soul, but he wasn't interested in that side, the intellectual side or anything. And then the Swami after him, Swami Vita Mohananda, he was also not, he was a very loving man, a great Swami, but not an intellectual academic type, as Swami Siddheshwarananda had been. But he took up the idea of the University of Man and started that at the center. And so now I'm carrying on with that, trying to develop the university further. We're making a relationship with the Vivekananda University at Bellarmine so that people who study in our Institute of Vedic Yoga will get university credit, and eventually our Sanskrit department, which we have also, will get university credit as well. And so we have the University of Université de l'Homme, which is not a university in the sense of accredited, but in time we will get accreditation through the university in India. And we have the Institute of Vedic Yoga, which means the yoga as developed in later times in India was a different tradition from the Vedanta tradition. There was Patanjali's yoga, a different school of philosophy, and there was the Vedanta philosophy. But originally, yoga and Vedanta were the same tradition, and the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita and the earlier parts of the Vedas is full of yoga. And so the idea of our Institute of Vedic Yoga is to bring back a holistic yoga, which, so the people, it's a 4-year course. People sign up for a 4-year course, 1 weekend every month and 1 full week in the summer. And so it's a big commitment, but we teach the Yoga Sutras, but we also teach the Bhagavad Gita, we teach the Upanishads, we teach meditation, we teach chanting, and other things. We have classes in Ayurveda, we have classes in singing, chanting and singing. We have a retired French opera singer who teaches singing classes. And we have Dattatreya Velankar from India who comes and teaches classical Indian music as well. And so we have a number of different departments. And I proudly take care of the chickens. So it's a wonderful place and a wonderful, we have room for a lot of people to stay. We're going to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the International Day of Yoga in June. And we're expecting 700, 800 people to come for that, for 3 days, a 3-day celebration with many yoga teachers from different traditions coming and teaching.
What are the chickens for?
For eggs, for eggs.
But not to be eaten.
No, we don't eat the chickens. So the foxes do when they get one that escapes, but we eat the eggs. So.
You have an online question?
What's it?
You have an online question?
An online question, okay.
So they ask, Swami Vivekananda emphasized protecting one's serenity of mind. What do you, Swami Atmarupananda, use to protect your serenity of mind?
What do I use to protect my serenity of mind? Well, what serenity I have, I use several things together. Of course, I use the mantra to keep the mind centered, to try to melt the mind into the mantra, to melt my identity into the mantra, into the stream of the mantra. I use the sense of unity that I spoke about. If you meditate on unity, you try to feel this ocean of unity, it's there, it's already there. We're already aware of the ocean of unity all around us, in which everything is just a manifestation. We just don't pay attention to it. And I use the sense of I am, which is the cosmic I am. And I am the I am, but as one meditates on it, one begins to see that the I am is not what I thought it was. It's not Swami Atmarupananda, it's not the body. I am the I am, but the I am is cosmic. And so those 3 things go together for me now. I practiced them separately before, but now the mantra, the sense of unity, and the sense of I am, and the sort of the natural detachment that those bring, that's what I use.